Yeah, this is a weird one, people. I'm down on the south coast, I'm fishing on an old railway line. And you think I'm joking? I'm not. Here is the signal. It says it's closed at the moment, I think, so I can't go past there. Or can I? Just a hunch. Looking on the map, I thought, you know what? If the wind's down, not in cast out there, is it worth a shout? It looks like I can cast off the top, because I'm not going down there. There's loads and loads of small fish. Dimpling, real small. I guess a small mullet, I don't know. I've got ragworm for bait, bit of squid. I was out with Wayne yesterday in the boat. I've come all the way back down again. Wayne gave me a bit of leftover rag. I've been and bought some more. A bit of leftover squid. And I'm going to go and give it a try. Everybody down the south coast will probably know where this is. There's a lovely white egret down there as well. I haven't got my long lens, can't do much. Here is the old railway bridge. Now I'm old enough to know when there's railway bridge and trains going over that. And you can see these are the buttresses down there that are left, obviously get covered up high water. My goodness, it's got a mullet or a garfish I could see down there. So, is this not a place to try comfortable fishing, people? Oh dear me. The wind's down, it's probably a one-day wonder. Oh, I've had to come back and give it a go. I don't live near the coast, I'm 50 miles away. But you know what, when it's like this is really for shore fishermen what it's all about. Of course, he wants to fish, easy access. Probably no fishing zone around me. Will we fish till we get thrown off? No, you can fish off here. I checked with Wayne, he said you can fish off there. And I looked on the Google Maps, it seemed a bit sort of out that way, a bit clearer. So whether I'm going to lose loads of gear, I don't know. Whew, take this hoodie off. I've got this guy with me, Smith, so you never know. He might bring me luck, he might not. Let's get rigged up and get a bait out. High water is, what was it, about 1:45? It's now about 10:45, 11, 12, 1. I've got sort of 2 up and 3 down, I think. And that's why I've come here. Won't be deep till the tide comes up, but there might be a shout. There's a very good chance I'm going to run out of bait with the crabs stripping me first, but if so, I just have to put squid on and might get a chance of a smooth hound. Okay, rig wise, well that is no wind, I can actually talk. I'm using my long loop rig. I haven't got them baited up yet, but there's one there, one there. I think I've got to throw out some squid, maybe a squid and ragworm wrap, in case there's a smooth hound around, because I know smooth hounds like off the shore flat weather. I've got a regular 4-ounce lead, my regular beach caster with braid on there, 50-pound braid, shock leader. Obviously I'm not going to whiz it very far with 4 ounces, but at least I can get out there with the biggish bait. Now the other 2 rods are something a bit different. Okay, got the, what we call this sort of scratching rig, 3 small hooks, I guess 10, 20, 4 ounces, braid again, and this one is a popping rod. It's called a popping special, SW150. Don't know what it throws because I'm not popping anything. Hopefully I'm going to be popping a fish out, even if it's small. Not going to be a big fish place here, sort of scratching just something to catch something. So 3 hook rig there, probably worms all the way on that. And the other rod, I mean, it might be noisy with traffic, I don't know, the road's only over there. This one again is an icy, whatever, professional, all good. So again, the surface popping rod, doesn't sort of tell me anything. But I'm going to be throwing that out, and that one's got what we call 1 up. See the ledge here? 1 hook up on quite a longish snood and 1 down. Sometimes in really rough seas, if you're out on the open beach, this one will get balled up and tangle up and come back in a mess. I'd normally fish just 2 pattern rods to hooks up there for that. But should be obviously no tide as such coming in here. It is coming in. It's not going to be ripping. There's no surf crashing. So I'm figuring I'll get away with this rig. Woo-hoo. No trains coming yet. I might as well do it in between them. I've left this what I've been rigging up in the sun just to get it thawed out a bit. It shouldn't be rock solid. It's only froze it yesterday, well last night when I came back. Look, there we go. Probably use half of that. I'm cutting on the grass, not the stones. And then I need really I have to watch keeping this bait cool. I'm going to use yesterday's leftover worm first. No problem with them. I'm going to put one bit of squid up the line like that, a ragworm around the hook. Goodness me, Graham, it almost looks like a sharp hook, mate. People go, oh, I know when you're fishing I see the date on the newspaper. When it's just a date on a newspaper. Because I keep papers from one year to the next for my fire. And then possibly a little bit big, but hey ho, at the end of the day, you never know. I don't know if big smoothhounds come in here. I've never fished this bit before, ever. It all looks fishy, as they say. So this is quite a big bait, and it's obviously fairly sure I'm going to spend a bit of time feeding the crabs. Although I'm not distance casting as such, going to give it a heave ho, I'm going to put a bit of thread on it just to hold it in position, as it were. The thing is, I do tend to use baits possibly a bit too large, and the smooth hounds have a relatively small mouth. They're quite aggressive takers, but the actual mouth is small. A smooth hound expert told me that from the shore. He's using crab, or his crab specialist, and he's saying don't make the baits too big, Graham, but I still do it because I think the juice comes out and they can smell it. It's just, I think it comes from me shark fishing, all the half a century of getting as much smell in the water as you can. So this will get stripped, no doubt, by the crabs, but I could get lucky. Listen, a big bass could come and pick this up. I've never caught one, but got to be in the water to have a chance. Let's whiz this one out. Hopefully this is the end of the line. The end of the line. A lovely, hopefully peaceful day. Of course, people going over the bridge, 10,000 people an hour go, guys, a bloke fishing there, I wonder if it's any good. Let's go and ask him. Whew, that's pretty warm. I don't know, you probably won't see them over there. There's loads and loads of small little finger mullet. That one's going. I don't think that went in the mud. My hunch is this one might go first. That's my hunch, if we get any rod rattlers. And there we are, folks. What a setting. Fishing on a railway line. There's loads of mullet. You can actually see. I'm going to go down here. Those rods should be okay for a second because it's early on the tide. Let's not fall over, Graham. It's a real Skid City one. There's a little spit here. I don't know what that would have been used years ago for on the railway lines. There's mullet in here. We better take a look at them because I might not catch anything. It might be the only fish we see. Down there's mullet. Oh yeah, loads. Not very big, I have to say. You guys might not see them on the camera. You can actually physically see the weed moving in here. Hold it dead still, you can see the weed moving across where the tide's actually flooding in. There's mullet over there, just on the surface. Now, you could catch these maybe with floating bread crust, but you've got to watch the seagulls. Now you can see the if I hold it dead still there, you can see the actual flow starting to creep in around the weed. It's smoky here, they get quite a lot of pollution problems, sewage dump, usual sort of stuff, so it's always sort of smoky. There's mullet there. Float rod, tiny piece of bread, tiny piece of ragworm, some ground bait, and it's possibility of catching mullet, but I'm not up for those today. Look, people, just it's fishing line. Why not just take it home? I mean, look, I don't mind. I've got a little clip swivel there. Let's have a look up here. I do like a bit of beach combing. Obviously this is all going to be underwater later on, where I'm walking now. A word of advice to beachcombers: I cannot believe there's more fish in line. Good lord, what is this, a long line? What is the point? What is the point, guys? We all have break-offs. This is actually a crab hand line. I can tell you that by the coralline. And there, I'm right. There is the plastic crab line. So this wasn't in fact anglers, this is holiday makers. You can see how it tangles up, and it ain't going to rot down, so I'm going to take it up and cut it away. I'm not particularly the saver planet. I don't get too involved in any of that, but you've got to do your bit, haven't you, to try and help a bit. Yeah, just a word of warning, I'm okay walking here. As soon as I tread on this stuff, it is grease. So be very careful, anybody goes down the bottom, you know, and also mud. You can go in the mud, I have done it, and you can get stuck, and you just hope somebody calls the Coast Guard, because you cannot get yourself out some of these places. But this is hard where I am at the moment, because you can see the boulders there. But anything with green on it, just take small, careful steps. See, I'm not going right down there, I'm going up this end. I think that's actually weed, not fishing line. Oh, so this was where the 1, 2, 3 big stakes for the support of the railway line. And as I say, I was standing here, I can remember the trains coming over this. As a kid, my granddad had a house down here. Used to come down on school holidays, do working jobs. Tiny pin fry down there, about this long, inch or 2 inches. I don't know what type they would be. I don't think they're sanders, I think they're actually fish. You see the rods up there. As usual with me, not moving, but you never know. If I blank, it'd be a pleasant blank. Way in the distance is a gig coming out just between the gap and the bridge. That is the main channel under the bridge from years ago. So that's where they come through this. So the main channel's over there, which I'm never casting 250 yards to get there. That's almost a tree in itself, isn't it, when you look at the diameter of that. 14, 16 inches square. This is where the tide dumps a lot of the weed, as you can see. Here you got a cuttlefish backbone. Used to get those from my gran years ago for the budgies. They used to sharpen their beaks on it. Personally, I'd rather not see the budgie in a cage. They should be out in the country. They live in flying around. There's normally sand fleas and hoppers underneath all this stuff. And indeed there are. I mean, here you can see how the currents scoured under the buttress of concrete there as these rush through, and I wonder if fish come under there. I'm sure they do. There are in fact small fish here. I'm going to try and creep in on them. Little inch long sort of glass minnow fish. I'm going to kneel down in the wet now. There's one laying on a stone there. They just moved off, and there's another one. Can you see them? As usual, even the little ones are swimming away from me. But the day is yet young. I'll go all down the dangerous bit, and there's a nice walkway down here. Look, how stupid of me. That's better. God, I might have to go and get the brolly. Notice how they put a padlock and a plate there to stop people climbing up, which of course is just what I want to do. Well, about 50 minutes in, maybe an hour. The current results are as follows. Crabs, 473. Fish, 0. The bait's going to be going down, which is just where I had those spare baits. So they're going in 15 minutes. Even the squid, stripped, hooks are polished. And I've actually caught one crab, which I was thinking of putting back out as a hardback, but I think it might be a bit shallow there. And obviously crabs eat crabs. That's just the way it is. So what to do? Do I wait for the tide? I think I've got to sit it out a bit. I've had one tentative tappy sort of little bite on the dark rod cast to the right. I just baited up again, so I'm not going to waste all my bait here if it is really, really bad. I mean, I sort of want to stay to high water because I'm figuring the ebb tide here, look, when it fills up in here, I've got a feeling it's going to give me more flow there at the moment. That makes sense. It's filling up the whole tide. It's filling up this lagoon and just trickling through here. It's not a giant tide, but I'm hoping, because it's a narrow neck here by the bridge, it might give me a bit more flow. So I think I sort of got to hold on. A little bit of breeze picking up, not a bad thing because it is hot. The worst time for fishing ever. But what do you do, people? We moan that there's no weather, there's no, too much wind, raining, stormy, the water's coloured. Then you get it really good with the weather and you say, oh, it's too bright, it's too still. We can moan. I think it's why the good old Aussies call us the whinging poms. They're not far wrong, are they? They're not far wrong. Oh, I could certainly have a whinge, especially if I don't catch anything. These crabs keep muddling my baits. But I bought the folding chair this time. I can basically blank in luxury. Oh, wasp's coming now, nice. This be interesting, a bloke trying to learn to sail, I think. And he's just come out, he's got the whole ocean out there and he's got to go past my fishing lines. I don't get it. What's your fishing lines? Mate! Thank you! Sorry about that shouting, but they just don't even look. No, even look. There's a whole of the ocean, they've got to come right across the front of my fishing lines. I think he heard me. I've made a mistake of looking behind. There's a shoal of them coming. Oh, if it gets anything like it was on the boat yesterday when we had to move there for so many, I think I'll have to pack up and just go down the beach. It's really annoying. I don't know why they don't see fishing rods and don't associate it with fishing lines. Well, I'm exactly blank, guys. I did tell you, but I was taking all the bait, and here they are. Plenty of them. And they're quite a big crab, these ones, so they're going to cherish going through all my bait, and I'm not going to be giving them much longer, to be honest. So no fish. I've had a couple of tentative bites, but I think with braid there's no stretch, so I see these guys tugging at it. Let's get this one chucked back. I don't want him for bait. If it was boat fishing, I might chop him up for bait, but this is lucky day, sort of. Well, I've obviously got something wrong because according to me it's nowhere near high tide, but you can just see here it's actually creeping out, so it's ebbing out that way. So let's come up here. See, they're pretty well all covered now. So something bizarre is happening. Maybe the reading for the tide table is like way back up in the harbour up there, and it's already started dropping out here. So I'll give it half an hour, 40 minutes with this flow, because if the flow's going that way, there might be a chance it takes a smell off down that way from the baits. But at the moment, nothing. So I might just have to go around the beach to see if I can get a line out and get away from the crabs. There's the update, guys. There's so many kids here, they decided to come and have lunch next to me, and it's not really their fault they didn't catch anything. I had one small bass. I've got it under umbrella here, the camera, by the way. I had one tiny little bass, wound it up, left it on the wall, went to get the camera, came back in the water. So you just have to believe me. I've now come right down the other end of the estuary where it goes out into the sea, hoping that I might pick a fish off. I've had a couple of bites, I've lost something small, I think black Greme. As you can see, I've got everything against me, even boats. I hope he doesn't pick my line up. No, I actually think he's missed it. So I've gone down to real small hooks, like freshwater size now, size 2, carp hook, wide gate, trying to see what these small bites are. But as yet, nothing, and something else is just ploughing through the bait, and there's a lot of weed there, a lot of weed. So it's not looking good. Plenty of guys fishing, haven't seen anybody, just holiday maker fishing, trying to catch, oh, look at the bending, that's a ton of weed. That bend's not good news. I think the only thing I can do is just cast in short and see if there's no weed there, and of course the current picks up, which is ebbing now. Down it's going to bring all the weed out the estuary back out here. I put 2 hours on the car park, and I feel that's probably 1 hour too much. Well, the tide's gone down, dropped way down there, loads and loads of weed. I've had to wind the static rod up with a grip lead and just use this one, just rolling it round. I've had a couple of bites, but there's so much weed it lasts, I can't tell you. It's 30 seconds before it's out and full of weed. Got 2 worms left. Doubtless if I stayed longer till the tide went low and the tide eased, I would probably get some bites and get some small black bream. I think they're being stripped by small black bream. I'm casting up current and let it roll around, a bit like fishing for barbel. Boats everywhere, noisy jet skis as you expect. One fish would have been nice, so all I've done is lose 1 small bass. Now you can see the line, perhaps. Guys, you can see it's racing round there. It's doing about 6 knots, I should think. The water's lovely and clear. I haven't seen 1 mackerel caught. So this is what I get in like 30 seconds with the lead bumping around. This is about the 50th time I've done this, so I'm getting fed up. Just watch when you do this, because there are going to be hooks in there. So guys, here we go. Look, that's what it says. What it says on the tin, and it's nearly a tin. And this is Jim at JC Autos, who does repairs, car repairs, Jim, tell us a little bit about this one.
Well, this is a friend of ours, a little project of his. He's a big fan of Only Fools and Horses, so hopefully we're going to get it going for him. Little Reliant van, and it's 750cc.
Yeah.
It's an original Mark 1. It's got all the original parts on it, but we've had it apart. The chassis all been welded. We just want to get it all back together. It's a little bit of a joint effort. He's restoring a bit and we're doing a little bit for him, so my task is really to see if we can get it going for him.
Yeah, so it's getting the engine going first, then it's going to be what, electrics and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, electrics is after. We're just going to hot wire it for a little while, because if you look here, it's all in a bit of a state. It's just old and a bit tired.
What do you do for parts, Jim? What do you do for parts?
Well, parts really is just searching online.
They're still about then?
Yeah, there's still some Reliant owners clubs and bits and pieces, so you can find bits and pieces. I mean, things like the radiator, that was an aftermarket one that was made. Stuff, you know, that's quite a common hose that's on a lot of vehicles, so you can make do and find little bits and pieces, but it's normally a game of find the best parts you can and refurbish them.
Mr. Billy Basic here is going to say, is that the HT coil?
Yeah, it's coil.
All those years at school.
That's the old coil. There's a new one bolted to the engine, just to get it running. Distributor cap down there, yeah.
Got to be working for you in a minute, Jim.
Points and condenser, yeah. You can have a job any day, Graham. Yeah. Any day you like. You know,
I don't know where that goes though.
Yeah, it's just heater. In here sits a heater box, and that's one of the bits that's we've been looking for, and he's found one that we're going to refurbish.
And what's he like on gears? What would he have gear-wise?
This is actually a 4-speed. Some of them are 3. This is a 4. Yeah, it's pretty basic. It's almost like tractor technology.
And are they easy to turn over? I know people say, oh, it's got that one wheel at the front.
Well, yeah, at speed, it's like anything. If you go too fast into a corner, you can roll one over. If you turn them sharply, you can roll one over. But to be honest, they're wobbly. I mean, if you
I think they're light. They're all fiberglass.
Yeah, look at how light and wobbly that is. They do bounce around, but you know, they're not as bad as people think. They're fun. That's
and what age would you put on this, Jim?
What, sorry?
What age? You know, what sort of year would this be?
Not sure what year this one is. This has got to be early 70s, isn't it? Yeah, Elridge. Yeah, Mark 1 Escort sort of era.
And he's had it all done up. He's exactly the same, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, well, he's trying to keep it a little bit in keeping with the age of it, so he's not overdone it. He's left a lot of patina, so it still looks its age. He's got his Del Boy roof rack for the roof and his suitcases.
Oh no, he's got that, has he?
Yeah, he's got the roof rack. He's got his, I found him a couple of suitcases. And what would be really real fun is we're planning on doing the Batman and Robin sketch for charity in Guildford.
Oh really? Oh really?
Yeah, and the Batman and Robin in it, go and a couple of charity buckets and go through Guildford and collect a bit of money.
Oh, it's good. Well, good luck with that, getting it going, Jim.
Yeah, I think we're going to need it.
We'll come back when it's going.
Yeah, we'll come back and have a test run when it's done. The thing is, a lot of people do them, but when you actually look at them online, the giveaway is this. Right, that's a Mark 1 because it's kind of got the bumper lines and stuff in it. And if you look at the back door, it's got a single back door as well. A lot of the ones that you see for sale online, they're a later version.
Oh, are they really?
And it's painted yellow and it's got the stickers and pieces. But now that I've said it, you'll notice it. So if you look at Only Fools and Horses,
that's a Mark 1, yeah.
Yeah, it's a Mark 1. It's an early one.
See, single door.
Yeah, and the other giveaway is the steering wheel. They've got a real basic dash and steering wheel. So they are quite different, the early ones and the late ones. And a lot that you see that are done up are the later ones that are made to look like the early one. But this is an original early one.
Guys, here's what Jim's got on this one. I'm dying to see this finish. Been waiting here since 1997. Oh dear, I can see he's really got a handle on it.
Right, hi there. Just going to give you a chat on some floats though. It's getting that time of year where we're hoping the weather's going to improve and spring's on its way, and we all like to get out and do our Mr. Crabtree bit and have a go float fishing again. So I've grabbed just a quick selection off the shelf to go through and just tell you a few different floats that we do in the shop. So very popular now is loaded floats. These is probably our most popular ones by Drennan. Multicoloured tops, very thick fat tops for people like Graham, so they can actually see the float now.
And 2 colours, that's what traffic.
2 colours, yeah, so which I like because obviously you see orange. If it rises it might be yellow, or you could set it a bit higher if you wanted and do it you know it's gone down to black or orange. So
Is that splitting the colours for a lift bite, what we used to call a lift bite?
Yeah, for a lift bite, and also I think then it doesn't matter if we've got orange or yellow tops, you got the best of both within that. So if your eyesight's straight, I find the older generation of people now have gone to yellow floats, whereas it will just be orange floats. So I think it's eyes and what you can see. So you got so many different types. So as you can see, there's 3 different types there. I think they do 7, 8 different types of Visi Wag now, as they call these. These are a loaded waggler. As you can see, that's a 3 gram.
Let's go in on that show. So that's already, you can say, call it shotted up.
It's shotted. So
I hate shotting floats.
Right, so with a Drennan float, I'm going to get this wrong probably now when I'm on camera with you. With all of this range of this colour of Visi Wag, so there's, that's a number 7, that's a number 2. So these are the different designs. They go from 1 to 8, I think. They all shot up with the same amount of shot. So if you were to put a float adapter on your line, that you pop that into, like a little silicone adapter, I should have brought some out to show you.
I know the ones you mean,
yeah. So you pop that in, and then they all shot up with something like 8 number 10s. So it doesn't matter if I change from that float to that float on my float adapter, it will still shot exactly the same.
That's bizarre, because this other one looks really fat, doesn't it? The back one, you'd think that's going to take 3 swan shot or something.
Yeah, so they've gauged them out to make out that, to do with the weight on the bottom that's already preloaded, and you can use the same amount of shot for every single float in this range.
Just to balance it.
To balance it, yeah. So, like, you might chuck it out, it might sit like that, and then it gives you the option to just choose your pattern, tweak it to where you want it to go. So whether you can say,
still day you want it pipped down, windy day you want it sitting up a little bit.
But I mean, even a big float like that, if you shot it right down, that still becomes a very sensitive float.
Yeah.
But it's more stable bodied for staying in the water if it's a bit rougher out there. So that's just one type on there. We've got obviously more your traditional type of waggler. It's just a straight waggler. Most of them are crystal wagglers, as they call now. There's not many sort of balsa and peacock quills out there anymore. I don't think we can grow enough peacock feathers to get the quills anymore. So that particular one, just a straight waggler, 2AA, and that's just a basic one, as most of you probably remember and see fishing. That's what we call an insert waggler.
Do they actually disappear under the water, you think, with that, you know, the see-through look, I'm calling it?
Yeah, I think it's less visible. Do I think it makes a huge difference in my eyes? No. I just think it's an easier way of production, as in plastic in a tube. It's quicker and easier to make, and it's very buoyant for what it is.
I still like the traditional floats myself.
See, that's more an old school, a GP Premier, balsa wood.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's what I grew up fishing with, all floats like this, and I thought they were great, you know. We've caught loads of fish. They'd all catch you the same sort of styles of fish, but different waters, different methods. So, insert waggler. I quite like the tapered top. I don't know why. It seems you can be more sensitive, I think, when you dot it down.
Yeah.
But you can also exchange that and get a Drennan mini starlight, or any mini starlight, and plug it straight on the top of there.
Oh, for night fishing?
For night fishing. So if you're fishing into dark and you think, well, I'll have that last cast, that extra hour when you're in trouble, you can stay on and have a go. Same with that one. The top comes out for a slightly bigger one. So that's a loaded giant crystal, I think they call it. Yeah, that one. And that is a 3 gram.
And it is handy for beginners and newcomers having this already loaded float.
Yeah, I mean, loaded is not everybody's choice.
Yeah.
Some people prefer unloaded floats, but the bulk of your weight you generally put under your float. So there it is, all ready to go. So as you said, for a beginner angler, for learning how to shot a float, maybe start off with a loaded, and you've just got to add a few shots to it. I mean, ask everybody in the shops who work there when you go in and buy your floats, how do I shot this up? Most people have a shotting chart and pattern, and they better tell you how many number 8s, AAs or whatever work out in grams to it. So, and there's obviously very good diagrams on Google for that. This is a very popular one called a puddle chucker. So again, it's got an inserted top. It's got the weight. These are very popular with more your beginner anglers or people new to fishing. They also quite like this system. So you slide that collar back.
See if I can zoom in on that. Let me go in slowly. Yeah, is that a sort of locking collar or something?
That's it. So you can place your line through the collar, pull that over.
Put it down, it pinches. And
it pinches it and stays sort of in place. I would still lock shot either side or use a float stop.
I was just going to say, it's quite a chunk there of weight. So if you did long casting, I would be concerned it might be a little bit of slippage. And
I think you can pull that collar a little bit harder and it'll go down a bit further. but I still would pull it to where it stops, and then I'd either do my little shots either side, or you know, the float stops that you can use off the wire, which I quite like using myself. But various sizes. To say, this is just a random mix out the float rack downstairs. You can get from slightly bigger than this to smaller to real little dumpy things. Here's a float. I don't know if some of you guys will recognise this straight away.
Wind beater?
A wind beater float. I grew up
Shows you how
fishing
old
with
I am,
these.
isn't it?
Yeah, you don't see these in many shops anymore. No one stocks them. I can't help myself but just stock one type. They still do a load of them. They're not popular sellers now, but I enjoy fishing them. So on a big lake, windy conditions, always brings me back to tench fishing as a kid, and we used to fish them like that, right down, dip down, and you'd actually be striking on your lift bite. So when the float
as they pick it up,
I
suppose,
So basically your weight will be overshot in the size of the float on the bottom.
And that takes quite a lot. Cause
takes quite a lot, So it's designed like to be really buoyant, so when it does lift, it shoots right
up. I got you, yeah.
So that is still, if you haven't seen them, a drift beater float. Cool way of fishing. Probably not the most productive way of fishing, but an enjoyable way of fishing.
It's
different. I enjoy it. It's just good fun. That's one of my cheapy sort of premier floats, which is more of a traditional float that a lot of you guys remember from being kids and stuff like that, but just a basic, not an insert, but a tapered waggler on the top there. Then I've picked out, we'll show you these ones first. So some of you guys will know in Australia, it's a pellet waggler. So they use these on the more commercial carp fisheries. That's your design there. You basically have a bigger weight that overshots it, so that'll be loaded right to that, and you can cast these probably 30, maybe 40 yards.
Really, that far?
Yeah, they go right distance, and that's just another version.
And foam, I noticed it says.
Yeah, so you generally get foam. Then you
closed cell foam, isn't it?
That's it. And then you also get a balsa wood version, which a lot of people do. And then obviously you get the plastic version as well. And that's a Drennan muggler, as they call it, which again is a pellet waggler float. You'll find places, Gold Valley, Willow Park, Todber Manor, certain time of year, they'll be chucking this, pinging pellets, feeding pellets, cast it over the top, literally as it hits the water, goes in, goes round. The methods are changing.
Now their rod goes round, doesn't it? I've not done a lot of this, but
so it's like fishing a feeder almost, but up in the water there, casting, as they chuck the float, it goes on the rest, and literally as they pop it there, they've taken it.
And you fishing it sideways, the rod a little bit at an angle, like a quiver tip.
Yeah, like a quiver tip, just to take it.
Let's have a wave.
Give it up.
That's it.
There you go, back on.
That's it. It's on a sensor in case people think
that's because
we haven't put 10p in the meter.
Saving electric again. So yeah, with the pellet waggler fishing, definitely a good method. There's some good videos of some of the guys from Fox or Guru doing their videos on the pellet waggler.
And they get
fishing.
huge numbers, don't they? I mean, a guy, I think he had 27 carp, they were telling me. Just got them going.
They're fishing small depths. They're 2 feet,
2
3
feet,
feet, maybe 4 in some aspects when it's coming through the water they hit it, but generally that flick the pellets, cast the rod, as soon as it hits the water it normally.
And that's banded, they band the pellet when they say the hook's clear.
It hook's completely clear. Brilliant way of fishing, exciting, and when they're on it they really do have it, it's good fun. And then I've got a couple of, one of my favourite old school floats.
Perch bobber,
a perch bobber, that's exactly what it is. It is called a bobber float by Drennan. I can just remember from a kid, and we used to have them all the time, sitting with a worm on it down the river, or down the canal, and we used to catch. But funny float, doesn't necessarily serve a purpose in particular, but a nice little live bait float if you want to do that.
Live bait.
Live bait for your perch and your small pike maybe, but they go up to quite a size as well, so they go probably another 4 sizes on that as well.
Oh, bigger, larger.
Yeah, so bigger. So, but most of the ones popular like this, and people buy them just because you remember them and you have a look.
I did straight away. I thought it was a perch bobber.
That's it, yeah. I'll just grab one quickly. So that's a river float. That's called an Avon crystal.
Yeah.
Using for trotting on the river. Nice wide body for stable. Thick stem as well, so that's stable in the water. There's a million different other types of stick floats. Loaded, other ones you get semi-loaded. You'll get ones with wire stems as well, and the wire stems are obviously for keeping more stable bodies in deep water, stuff like that. It's a bit steadier. So
well, there you go. You've got plenty to choose from. You've got hundreds of floats down there. Hundreds of floats. And hundreds of floats.
Maybe have a little pan through with the camera and you might be able to show a few on there, Graham, but there is so many floats. We grabbed a quick selection of a few just to show you what's out there.
And if they pop in your shop, Grant, you're quite happy, or one of your staff, to tell them how to shop up and what situation as to where they're fishing.
And we're more than happy to just string it out on a piece of line and show you how it all works.
That's what it comes down to. I appreciate that, and hopefully that's helpful for some of the viewers.